Still watching TVC Breakfast. Now, President Bola Tinubu has backed renewed call for a constitutional role for Nigeria's traditional rulers, describing them as the most enduring link between government and the people. Delivering the president's message, Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma said traditional rulers continue to promote peace and stability despite lacking constitutional recognition. Now, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu also traced their influence to history, citing monarchs like King Jaja of Opobo, Oba of Varanwe, among others, noting their pivotal roles in resisting colonial domination and shaping Nigeria's early governance. Now, the call, leaders say, marks a renewed push to give traditional institutions a defined place in governance. Joining us in the studio for this conversation is communications consultant, indigenous knowledge and culture advocate, Kenny Adenuga. Good morning, Mr. Kenny. How are you doing?
Good morning.
How is it going?
Very fine, thank you.
It's always good to have you on the show because last time, we went boot to boot and we really enjoyed the interview. But we're talking about this now. In South Africa, this is allowed. In Ghana, this is allowed.
Absolutely.
But the question I want to go with you now is, do you think that it's time for Nigeria to adopt this? And also, on the second side, sometimes we see the way our monarchs behave like they are not monarchs. So I definitely need to throw that in. Just adding that into consideration, what do you make of this whole, idea?
The reality here is clear. This should have been done before now. And even before we have the Constitution and the 1999 Constitution, there have been quite some kind of roles before. And part of the challenges we have in governance, I keep telling people, democracy, the way we practice it, is not really for us. Because you do not do leadership without cultural knowledge and without cultural intelligence. It's not going to work. And that has led us to where we are today. And so this is a very good move, as far as I'm concerned, to say, let's rally the traditional institution and also be able to take advantage of what is within that space. It's not just about saying that, okay, you have the traditional rulers, they're just there ceremonially. So far we've had them ceremonial. But what are the roles? What can they do? I mean, in African leadership, so to say, ancient leadership, the indigenous leadership, we have proper governance that is beyond what we have today in democratical governance. So bringing this together either in advisory role, in also a number of things that they could do within the communities, because whichever way we want to look at it, governance is about the community and the people. And so if we want to actually be inclusive, ultimately, it is better for us to get them involved in governance, albeit constitutionally and with accountability. It's very important because, of course, there will be aberrations when it comes to local governance. There will have cases of some traditional rulers misbehaving or the other because they're human and because a number of things, if you don't set rules and guardrails, so to say, you will have challenges. So, but I believe that it is as an idea that its time is ripe and we need this going forward, whether from the north, from the south, east, west, whichever way it may be. And at the same time, we also then must realize clearly that as they come on board, their role is not to overshadow or take the place. It's not about competition, it's about complementarity. They are here to complement the government in certain rules that the government cannot be able to deal with. For example, we have legal cases, we have cases that people will not take themselves to court. Where are those cases sorted out? Disputes and what have you. So alternative dispute resolution makes it easier to dispense with justice and cases without necessarily going to the regular courts as we have it. And where are those things domiciled? Within the traditional institution. And that is very important for us to look at. So if they've been doing a number of things in those ways, I think the best thing is to then legitimize it properly, put it within the constitution, and let's see how that helps us. It's helped Ghana so far.
Exactly.
It's also helped South Africa as it were. So in a way, it's advisory. And beyond the advisement, like I said, there are other things they will do within the polity that actually will help us. Because when you do legislation, without thinking about the community, without thinking about cultural intelligence and the cultural knowledge of the people, then you're likely to miss it because your constitutional purpose as in leadership for governance, so to say, must consider the peculiarities of the people. What works in the north may not work in the south. What works in the southeast may not work in the Southwest because of the realities of the people.
That's right.
The cultural realities, the demographics and a whole lot of things, the language of the people, how they take to things when they hear certain issues. Their customs, their traditions are not exactly the same. So for me, it's better in a way that so that along the line, it then becomes easier to consult with the traditional rulers. Based on those consultations, laws are made that can actually be able to work with the people. Otherwise, we'll keep fighting things and keep throwing our usual policing to things.
Anything that has to do with human development, politics, and the rest is local.
Absolutely.
Violence local, food local, everything local. And for me, that signposts the importance of traditional rulers that live with these people. Yesterday we were talking about this, and somebody said, but the local government chairman. I said, yes, the local government chairman superintends over a number of villages, but a traditional ruler takes care of his community.
Absolutely.
I am wondering, is it that as a people, we forgot that we had traditional rulers, that we are thinking of putting their role in the Constitution in 2025? These guys have always been there. Their contributions to development, especially human development, has been incomparable to what the regular government does. Why did it take us so long? Are we going to point fingers on the traditional rulers themselves that have not been behaving like traditional rulers, that have not been carrying the sanctity of their position with all dignity and integrity? Is that the reason?
No, that's not the reason. And so a number of times it's very easy to point fingers at people or institutions. What I would say here is this, it's an inheritance matter. When post-independence, let me call it post-colonial governance, actually took it as part of what they inherited from the colonial leadership then. Because it was during the colonial era that we had the traditional rulers degraded totally.
That's right.
So what just happened was the people who now took over from the colonial rulers went the same way without bothering about whether they need to actually have a rethink about this. And it's taken us 65 years as a nation to come to terms with the fact that we lost something, which we could have actually immediately in 1960 reversed or actually stepped into. So it's not about because somebody was misbehaving or certain elements were misbehaving. It was basically because part of the inheritance or part of the heritage of colonialism was to downgrade. Don't forget that at that point in time, when colonialism was going to come in, who were the people in charge of governance? The traditional rulers.
Traditional rulers.
Right. Yeah.
The Oba Obini, the Alaafin of Oyo, the Oluba, the Baale of Ibadan, the Oni of Ife. All of them were before this, the Sultan of Sokoto, the Emir of Kano, the Shehu of Borno. All of them were traditional rulers in their own right. And they were ruling their people. They were actually doing governance. And in governance, the governance was structured. In Yoruba land where I come from, you could see the structure. You have the Oshugbos, you have the, who had you have the parliament, you have those who can checks and balances within the governance system. And so if a king misbehaves, there are ways to deal with it. Sometimes where I come from, they will say that when the king misbehaves to a point that the community could not take it any longer, there's a message that is sent to the king. He knew what to do. So, those are the things. So there was check and balances, there was governance. So even if a king chooses to misbehave, he would know the implications and the consequences. Because where we come from in Africa, consequences are very, very important as deterrent to misbehaviors. But in modern governance, there's impunity because there are no consequences any longer. Even if there are consequences, we play politics with it and what have you. So in a way, that's why I keep telling people that anybody who wants to go into governance today Okay, you know what? In our environment, you want to be our representatives in the Senate or House of Rep, or you want to go to the National State Assembly, whichever way, or you want to become governor, no problem. You know what? Come before, the traditional paraphernalia.
Yeah.
They give you Ogun, or they tell you this is Omiayelala. Drink and see and tell people that you will not betray them, and you will see a number of our people, because they know the consequences. They will backtrack.
They will quote the Bible. They will quote the Bible.
Exactly. That is where my question is actually leading.
Okay.
Because I'm wondering about the concept of religio-cultural overlaps between, we have the traditional still, you're referring to the Ogun, taking the Omiayilala, etc. So how do we prevent that constitutional roles of traditional rulers from blurring the lines between religion and state? We've had some others say, we do not want to have anything to do with, the Orishas or anything. I'm a Christian. Others will say, I'm a Muslim. Do not bring anything if I, in my presence. That's especially when they maybe, gain that position. How do we now blur it out? How do we ensure that we synchronize everything together, giving them constitutional roles, so much so that we do not offend other religions? But then, before you answer that, you mentioned something like Ballet of Ibadan. So,
yes,
was that a slip?
It wasn't a slip.
What about the Alafi?
What about the Alafi?
The Alafi started as Oloyo, then became Alafi. But like I said, the issue of Ballet in Yoruba, of Ibadan, they used to, don't forget that Ibadan was a war camp. And what you had were warrior leaders. So they used to call them Balogun or Bashorun.
Yeah.
So that you have Iba Oluyole, Iba Ogumola and what have you. So they were warrior leaders. So, but they became, officially became Oba in I think 1930 something or thereabout. And then the first beaded Oba that was officially was in 1976 or thereabout. Oba Adebimpe, if I remember very well.
Gazetted.
Gazetted. So, but before then, you had people like Oba Ibi Akinyele, who was also a pastor, a CSC pastor. And you had all of that. So, in a way, it's not an issue. Ibadans will tell you, yes, we had warrior leaders.
Yeah, but they have the military, what's it called? Lineage.
Yeah, that is why you have the military and they have a civilian side to the royalty today.
Yeah.
And so you start from your quarters, which is called Agbole. You start from your quarters as a Mogaji. And at a point, once you get into that step of the 24, then you keep climbing until. And what that does for Ibadan is fantastic, because people grow into leadership. It's just like what the Chinese would do.
Yeah.
So by the time you're becoming Olubadan, you have seen it all. You've seen governance, you've seen disputes, you've seen resolutions, you've seen all manner of colorations of things. So it becomes, so at that point you're like, you know what, there's nothing anybody wants to talk about in governance.
Don't let us
but that's just about that.
So how do you answer my question as regards the intersection of religion and culture, vis-a-vis giving traditional leaders constitutional role?
You see, the challenge I have is that most of the time our people want to look for what is not lost. That you have, traditional rulers have been there today. They've been doing the things they're doing. We're just saying, can we formalize it and constitutionalize it, put it in the constitution? Let's also codify it so that there can also be accountability. They've been doing the same thing so far. In villages and towns, you have traditional rulers settling disputes, land matters, family matters, and what have you, doing alternative dispute resolutions here and there. Of course, they are custodian of the culture and the beliefs of the people, so to say. So the question then is, we must also understand that there's a difference between culture and religion.
Yeah.
The same way language and religion is different. But our people, without thinking deeply, would actually mix everything together and say because there's something is cultural, then it becomes religion. No, they're two different things.
No, but talking about culture, some people believe that the worship of gods is cultural. Others are saying, no, that's a religion. That culture has to do with the way we dress, the way we eat, the way we marry, and all of that.
Absolutely.
Yes. So do you also agree to that?
Absolutely.
That worshipping Orisha is not our culture.
No, worshipping. I will say something here. Yeah. You see, culturally, we are who we are.
Right.
Now, within the purview of culture, you have religion, you have dressing, you have music, you have all of that. Yeah. So people can choose, okay, you know what, I'm doing the dance, I'm doing the music, I'm doing the clothing, I'm doing whatever. When it comes to the religious aspect, I don't have any business with that. But it's still part of the ways of the people. So the same way we talk about those who are in, the Arabic environment and in the Middle East and some other places. They have their culture, they have their ways of dressing. If you see an Arab dress, maybe an Arab Christian, but you would think he's a Muslim, because that is their own way of dressing.
Arab Christian?
Yeah, there are Arab Christians.
There are so many Arabian Christians.
So you have them, but when you see them dress, as far as you actually, if they tell you they are Christian, you say it's not possible because of the way you're dressed, because that's their culture, that's their cultural dress. So we must be able to look at the fine line between culture and religion and other things. So within the cultural purview, you have religion. You can't run away from it, but it is a subset that can stand on its own without you necessarily getting involved with it. You take the other areas, the other subsets of culture, which is language, music, dance, clothing, fashion, and every other thing. So that is the way it comes. So for me, I think that people may just be looking at it without depth of understanding. The critical thing here is this: let us codify what they've been doing before. And like the Oni of Ife said, it is an aberration in a way to then subject a first-class Oba to a local government chairman. Let the constitutional come in and straighten this out to say, as a first-class Oba, the person that you're responsible to is the governor of the state, state level, and perhaps the community itself, because the responsibility must be two-way. You must be accountable in two ways. To government, to the law, let me put it that, to the law and the community. That's where. So
Mr. Kenny, let me come to you here with this very important question. It says, how can we respect tradition without mixing it, with politics? And I'll give you an instance. For example, in Ghana, the traditional rulers, they are forbidden to, take active things in politics. But in Nigeria, do you think it's something that we can do? You know how Nigeria is, knowing our peculiarities. How are we able to make sure that we do not mix this with politics?
Now, you see, that is the reason why you need to have it codified in our constitution. It's going to be there, written clearly.
But there are so many things that we write that we don't follow.
No, you see, the issue is this. We are all political animals, whether we agree or not. Even in Ghana, traditional rulers in Ghana, the Ga people and whatever, they still have ways of influencing. But they don't participate in politics in any way. They do not participate in any way. But they are influencers all the same. Because sometimes there are people who come and ask them questions.
The politicians will go take blessings from them before.
Now, well, just like what happened in Ibadan. After the coronation, some people went to the Olubadan, and in a way they were trying to maybe he saw a hint of politics and said, "Have left politics. I'm now a father to all." And that is what it's supposed to be. So they will come for blessing. You bless them. Anybody that comes is okay. It doesn't stop you from blessing and encouraging everybody.
But we are all humans. Others will also have their sentiments.
Exactly. I don't think they should have their sentiments.
They are humans.
They are humans. They would have their sentiments, and they may have their sentiments. However, the law will forbid them from partisan politics to come out and say, oh, vote this person or that and what have you. So that is where we should be going, to say, much as you are a political animal, you are a political person. You in this matter, you have to be apolitical. A king or a traditional ruler, whether you are the Sultan or the Sheikh of Borno, or you are the Obi of Onitsha, or you are the Oni of Ife, it doesn't matter who you are. When it comes to politics, you are not involved.
Let me squeeze this question in because we have only 3 minutes left. You mentioned something that's quite interesting, a first-class chief and a local government chairman. Who is above who? Is it a question of who is above who, or drawing the lines between the traditional ruler's responsibility and that of a local government chairman? Now,
the reality here is that people have actually come around to say, what are they going to do that's different from what the local government chairman or the local government authority is going to be doing? But I can say one thing clearly. If there's a dispute today within a community, do they go to the local government chairman?
No.
Who do they go to?
They go to the Obas.
The chiefs, the Obas, the OBs, the AZs and whatever. Those are the people they go to. So we must understand, depending on the issue. Now, whichever issue, If they're going to go to government, they would rather go to law. They go to the courts, magistrate court, high court or whatever it may be. So whichever, they will not go to the local government chairman. But what happens here is there can be, what we are asking for is collaboration. So that within the local government setting, the kings and the traditional leaders have roles to play when it comes to mobilization for health, for vaccination, for this, for that, for rural development, security and all manner of. So it's about complementing each other. Not about leadership or who is in charge of what.
Mr. Adenuga, I'm quite worried as to, because very quickly, what we have local governments, separation of powers, federal, state, and local governments, right? What about the traditional? Are we not creating that office, like per se?
Another layer.
Administrating exactly bureaucratic costs rather, administrative costs, and even all those fiscal, budgeting and all of that. Won't we be spending much more money?
Who is going to fund it?
Now the question is, are they getting paid now or not? They get paid. So nothing has changed.
No, they are getting paid, but there will be budgetary provisions.
There's already budgetary provision
to run
the palace. Kings every month get paid, whether monthly or quarterly, I wouldn't know, but I know that there's subvention for them. So nothing has changed. So it's not about bloating cost of governance in any way, the way I say it. It's not about bloating. We're just saying that, can we codify this and give them their relevance within the polity? They're not politicians. They have advisory roles, and they also have mobilization roles. Can we then make it easier for that to happen for the benefit of the communities? Because everything you want to do is about the people, the community, and governance. And that is where they come in strongly. So if we keep closing our eyes to that, we keep having problems in our communities. Because the most thing that can now happen is this: can we talk about training and having sessions for our obas, or for our traditional rulers, in a way that when they are raised, when they are trained, they know their responsibilities, they know their roles. Everybody can play it properly. And that is what we're talking about. So it's not about just, you put in the constitution and then you leave them. No. Anything you don't pay attention to tends towards decay.
But quickly, because of our time, should it be continue to be advisory or executive? Because these are questions people are asking.
Their role is not executive in any way.
So continued advisory?
Advisory and mobilization and support. Now, the executive role comes within their palace, where they then, because they are in their palace, naturally, even as of today, they are already executing their palace. But when it comes to the polity of the environment, it's advisory and mobilization.
I wish we could go more, but thank you so much, Mr. Kenny. Thank you for